Today we are going to watch another Dragon Ball Super movie, exactly the one before Dragon Ball Super Hero. Of course, I'm talking about the Broly movie that came out a few years ago. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. And if you want us to talk about any other Dragon Ball movie, let us know in the comments. With that said, let's get started. To start with this story, we are going to go 41 years into the past, where we see how the ship commanded by the leaders of the race of cold demons land on the planet Vegeta, along with his army. Here King Colt and his son Freezer are greeted by King Vegeta and nobles of the planet who must bow their heads in their presence. King Colt informs all present that from now on, his entire empire will be inherited by Freezer, including the Saiyajin race as his employees. After this, as a first act, the new Emperor Freezer gives all the Saiyajin warrior trackers, which will not only be used in their battles, but also serve to be watched, and he proves it by discovering that there are hidden Saiyajins who have them in their sights, whom he immediately assassinates. Once Freezer leaves, we see King Vegeta visit his son Prince Vegeta, who still remains in the incubator. There he exclaims loudly that he is sure that his son will be the next true emperor of the universe and not Freezer's bastard, because he trusts too much in the power of his son Vegeta. Moments later, he discovers that here is also Broly, the son of Colonel Paragos, who happens to have a hidden power so great that it makes a fool of Vegeta's son, and although at first he thinks it's a lie, he sees how the trackers explode when measuring his power. In addition, the doctors believe that it may be the legendary Super Saiyajin, so King Vegeta acts out of fear and informs Broly's father that he will send his son to a planet called Vampa, an inhospitable and uninhabited place. Paragus does not believe anything of what he tells him because he knows that such a planet cannot be for a good price. Being cornered, King Vegeta decides to reveal the truth and mentions that Broly is considered a Super Saiyajin, a mutant, and it is very likely that as he grows older he will lose control, becoming a danger to the Saiyajin. That is why he is banishing him, which he should be thankful for since he chose not to kill him. Upon hearing this, Paragus decides to steal a ship that was under the control of Saiyajin Beat to go rescue his son, as he understands that King Vegeta acted out of fear that Broly will surpass Prince Vegeta. That said, he makes it clear that after rescuing Broly, he will train him to become the most powerful warrior in the universe and thus take revenge on King Vegeta. After these events, we see how Paragus lands in Vampa 2 days after Broly's capsule does. There, together with Beats, they begin to search through a storm where they must escape the creatures that wish to eat them. At dawn, Beats notices that the planet has a gigantic moon orbiting it. Immediately, Paragus orders him not to observe it for too long or he will turn into Osaru, that is, a giant monkey, something he is not familiar with since Beats does not belong to the warrior nobility. At one point, they arrive at a grassy crater where the creatures seem to feed. However, they soon discover that it was the skin of a giant beast. So after searching and searching, we Saiyajin's parents search a lot for the truth. They find the capsule, and following the trail of death, they find Broly himself. Upon seeing him up close, Paragus discovers that his son managed to kill the creatures that attacked him, becoming Ozaru, the Saiyajin monkey. After this, they are about to escape from the planet, but Beats discovers that the ship has been verrited and they will not be able to escape. Upon hearing this, Paragus decides to eliminate him to save supplies. This is how time passes, and exactly 5 years later we meet Bardock, Goku's father, who like other Saiyajins scattered throughout the universe, is returning to the planet Vegeta by orders of Frieza. Bardock begins to suspect that something is not right, as Freezer does not need to gather them all on his planet to communicate, as there are trackers. Even seeing that Freezer's army is now big enough, he comes to the conclusion that soon he won't need the Saiyajin to conquer planets for him, something that would be good for him. Well, everyone knows that Freezer hates his kind. Once he lands, things would become clearer for Kakaroto's father, as another Saiyajin mentions to him that warriors close to Freezer had been asking for the legendary warrior Super Saiyajin. That's when Bardock understands what was going on. At the same time, in Freezer's ship, his minion Kinono informs him that despite having searched for the Super Saiyajin and the Super Saiyajin God, they were unable to find anything. However, Freezer makes it clear that although there is no danger, he will take advantage of the fact that they are all gathered to exterminate them once and for all. That same day, something else would happen. As Bardock meets with his wife Jan, she explains that his son Raditz is on a mission with Prince Vegeta, and that his other son Kakaroto, despite having a very low power and a slow development, is well. So Bardock tells her that he has decided to send him to another planet at night because he believes that Freezer will exterminate them all soon. Thus the night has come on this dark planet where the Saiyajin await their fate. We see how Kakaroto is put in a capsule. The two of them meet again with a promise to meet again, and then Kakaroto leaves for Earth, a perfect planet for a low-class warrior like Goku to survive, and at the same time, this planet would be out of Freezer's interest. They say goodbye with the promise to meet again, and then Kakaroto moves away into space, and only moments later Freezer leaves his ship and launches an attack on the planet Vegeta so powerful that not even Bardock can cope with it, and is reduced to rubble like all the Saiyajin and their planet. At the same time, the Saiyajin who were on distant missions such as young Nappa, Raditz and Vegeta received the message that the planet Vegeta was hit by a meteorite. Vegeta shows indifference to both his brother and his own kind, and only regrets not being able to become the next king. Raditz follows his friend's example and acts the same way when his brother Kakaroto is mentioned. This is how time passes, and now we find ourselves in the present, on an artificial island created by Bulma, where she along with Whis and Bills can rest Vegeta and Goku train with great freedom because it is far from the mainland. At lunchtime, Whis asks Bills if his desire to become stronger is to become the next god of destruction, but Goku makes it clear that his only motivation is to surpass the warriors of the other universes. Whis asks Vegeta the same question, who expresses that he is because Freezer has revived and will seek revenge. Moments later, Trunks calls Bulma to inform her that apparently someone has infiltrated her house, stolen the Dragon Spheres and the radar, and it is thanks to the video cameras that they discover that it was Freezer's soldiers. Goku wonders what he would want the spheres for, since he can't ask to be the strongest in the universe due to Shenlong's limited power. Then Vegeta would make him see that he would most likely ask to be immortal. That said, when Bulma explains to them that she possessed only 6 of the 7 spheres since the last one is in Antarctica, they decide to go for it. Bills doesn't want to move, so Bulma leaves her daughter with him to take care of her. On the trip, when Goku questions Bulma for collecting the Dragon Spheres, she reveals that she planned to rejuvenate herself by 5 years, as usual Bulma making stupid wishes. That he will already think of making the wish to grow boobs? Or not? Well, at the same time, Kiko wouldn't ask Freezer the same question, but Barrack doesn't go ahead and mentions to him that he does it to grow 5 centimeters, since some soldiers called Freezer a dwarf. After this obvious, none survived. On the other hand, we are going to meet Chile and Lemo, some scouts members of Freezer's army who are in search of more soldiers. Here, Chile mentions that she joined the army to escape from the Galactic Patrol since she is a bandit. At one point when they pass by the planet Bampa, they receive a distress signal, and upon landing they find an elderly Paragus. A creature appears to try to attack them, but they are immediately saved by Broly, and seeing that he has a fighting power so great that it cannot be measured, they decide to take them away. During the trip, Chile befriends Broly, feeding him as if he were her pet. Soon they arrive in the presence of Frieza. Paragus explains that he had to cut off Broly's tail to avoid his Osaru form, and although he sometimes loses control again, he solves it with his necklace. Electric. Then when Frieza realizes Paragus's desire for revenge, he informs him that despite the death of King Vegeta, his son, Prince Vegeta, is still alive, and as they have the same interest, they decide to form an alliance. Later, seeing him groomed, Chile is curious why Broly does not chase of that old skin, which is why he tries to take it off, which makes Broly react instinctively because apparently for him it is something precious. We will know why later. Very attentive, eh? Then a soldier would try to take Chile by force, but Broly intervenes to defend her, and is about to lose control, so Paragus activates his necklace, inhibiting him completely. Chile argues with him, and although this will not change anything, he takes advantage of the moment to steal his control, and when he leaves, he destroys it. Later, while they continue feeding Broly, he thanks them by telling them that this skin belonged to a beast called Va, who after several battles became his best friend. He loved this beast very much, but everything would end when Paragus, his father, told him that he loved this beast very much, would cut off his ear so that he would have no distractions, driving him completely away from the animal. While this was going on, in Antarctica, Freezer's soldiers have finally found the last orb. Freezer is alerted that the last sphere has been found. Once Goku and the others arrive, these soldiers would try to escape, though Vegeta would effortlessly stop them. But before recovering the spheres, right there Freezer would arrive, accompanied by Broly and Paragus. This would immediately recognize Vegeta as he is identical to his father. Once Freezer gets the spheres, he mentions that the new Saiyajin are part of his army and that Paragus has a special grudge against Vegeta. Vegeta replies that whatever his father did in the past, it is not up to him to pay for his actions, but Paragus orders Broly to attack him immediately. So Broly launches himself at Vegeta, striking out of instinct with strength and speed, matching him in base state. Upon seeing them, Frieza realizes that despite being strong, Broly has much to learn compared to Vegeta, as he was only able to train on that uninhabited planet with Paragus. So the battle continues, and at one point Vegeta levels up, and after making him go through mountains he decides to transform into Super Saiyajin, causing Broly to be impressed and Paragus to shit his pants. Here Freezer discovers that Broly possesses no such transformation. Now with his blown hair, Vegeta gets the upper hand, as he even beats him without seeing, or only with kicks. But this doesn't last long as Broly gets stronger and manages to face him again. He adapts to his fighting level to such an extent that Vegeta uses the Super Saiyajin God transformation. With this power he dodges all his attacks and with a single blow sends him flying for miles as he crosses the mountains. Seeing this, Paragus would confirm to Freezer that this is the limit of his son, so Freezer orders to retreat. However, at that moment Broly begins to lose control. Paragus tries to stop him but runs out of options as he discovers he lost control of the necklace, so he asks Shouts to stop. This seems to work, but Vegeta goes ahead and attacks him by submerging him under the ice. But what happened would turn out to be one more problem, as it infuriates Broly so much that he emerges out of control and much more powerful. This worries Vegeta, and he asks Goku if he brought the Hermit Seeds, but he forgot them. Broly's fury expels a direct attack to Goku that he dodges at the last moment. Then Vegeta attacks him again, but this time it is different. Here Paragus would explain to Frieza that Broly possesses the ability to enter the Gozaru state without the need to transform. This explains his complete lack of control. Seeing what was happening, Goku decides to enter the battle, and after a little dance to warm up and see that Broly continues to get stronger and stronger, he proceeds to attack. As expected, Goku is easily overcome in his base state, so he transforms into Super Saiyajin, and although in this state he manages to give him some good hits like a kick from the ice, he must transform into Super Saiyajin God to not be overcome. Here he performs a new technique with which he manages to immobilize Broly, asking him to stop because he knows he is not someone evil. This does not work because Broly not only becomes more enraged, but it is his energy that now immobilizes. Goku is mobilized for a few moments, but he immediately frees himself. With all the damage, Chilai and Lemo take advantage of the situation to get Freezer's permission to leave with the spheres for safety, but Broly gets up even angrier and exchanges fist blows with Goku. Seeing this, Chilai feels sorry for him as he knows it's his father's fault he's like this. After getting beaten up and almost trampled, Goku tries to attack him with energy, but only gets fluttered like a toy against the ice, even kissing glaciers closely. This attracts Picoro's attention, and by means of telepathy he asks Goku for explanations, who asks him to be aware because if necessary he will use teleportation to go to him. That said, Goku gets up and proceeds to transform into Super Saiyajin Blue. The battle continues. The blows lead them to fight in the lava, where Goku uses his legendary biting technique. As Broly emerges, he creates a whirlpool of energy and throws it at him. This is so powerful that even Freezer must protect himself. This explosion is so brutal that it thaws the ice, leaving it exposed. Volcanoes. Seeing such destruction, Paragus begins to believe that perhaps King Vegeta was right about his son. Here, when Freezer discovers that this is all of Broly's known power, he remembers that he is in base state and still has the Super Saiyajin transformation left, so he decides to assassinate Paragus. Freezer's bastard notes it as if it was an accident caused by the Saiyajin fight. Upon noticing his father's death, Broly unleashes his anger even more, causing him to exceed his limits by transforming into Super Saiyajin. His uncontrolled power is expelled, bombarding the whole place. Seeing the situation, Vegeta decides to join the battle, and they begin to fight as a team. They even use Gallic Hawk and Kamehameha at the same time, but it doesn't work. However, they are lucky enough to get Broly distracted by Freezer while they teleport with Piccolo. When Piccolo tells them that he doesn't possess Hermit Seeds, Goku mentions to him that they only have the fusion left to do. Vegeta refuses but accepts as he remembers his family. Meanwhile, Broly continues to test his fists on Freezer, who must transform into Golden Freezer. Freezer if he wants to survive. At the same time, Pigueta and Goku start the fusion, but their fingers are misaligned, causing the creation of an obese warrior. 30 minutes go by. Freezer continues to take a beating, and when they are finally able to make the fusion again, they fail again, creating a scrawny warrior. 30 minutes later, on the third attempt, they finally succeeded and Gogeta was born. This new warrior arrives on the battlefield just as Freezer is about to be crucified. He immediately goes to Broly, who was being held by Whis to protect Bulma. The battle resumes with Broly launching a barrage of energy attacks that can't touch Gogeta. Gogeta fights back by transforming into Super Saiyajin, thus gaining the strength to smash him into a mountain and attack him with a shower of energy. But Broly breaks free by expelling his own. The blows are resumed. At one point, the power caused by the collision of their attacks is so much that they end up entering another dimension. Here, Broly's fury continues to strengthen him, so Gogeta must transform into Super Saiyajin Blue. In this state, his attacks acquire have another stopover, and again due to the clash of their attacks they cross dimension again to Antarctica. At the same time, Chile and Lemo realize that if the battle is not stopped, Broly will die and they plan to prevent it. Down below, Gogeta is so powerful that he is in total control and not even all of Broly's fury expelled from his mouth can touch him. Just here, Gogeta would arrive from behind and surprises him by bombarding him with the technique called Divine Punisher, without him being able to defend himself, and then uses the Stardust Breaker. Just at that moment, Shenlong is summoned by Chile, who forced Kinono, as only he knew this ritual. At the same time, Broly finishes unleashing all his power and returns to the battle, but Gogeta dodges his attacks easily and continues to punish him with his fists. When cornered, he proceeds to cross his arms to use the resonant explosion technique, with which he practically defeats him. But just in case, Gogeta throws a Kamehameha, and Broly is about to meet his father. But right there, Chile wants Broly to return to the planet Vampa, thus saving him from death. Certain death. Because they betrayed Freezer, Chile and Lemo escape immediately. Freezer tries to annihilate them, but Gogeta stops him. With nothing more to do, the poor Devil King Freezer leaves. 3 days later, Freezer would already be aware that his defectors, Chile and Lemo, are leaving for Broly's planet, but he decides not to intervene because he wants them to help him control his power, and when that time comes, he plans to use it to his advantage. Sometime later, we see that Chile and Lemo are already with Broly, who invites them to the delicacies of the planet, a kind of acid that Broly fed on as a child since, well, his supplies ran out. Suddenly, Goku appears, and although at first they distrust him, everything calms down when Goku gives them a house, hermit seeds and everything they need to survive. Goku explains that he helps them because he likes Broly very much, since he is a great and powerful warrior who could be at the level of Bills with whom he wants to face again. That said, he says goodbye, asking them to call him Goku or Kakaroto. Thus ends Dragon Ball Super Broly. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything, and if you want us to talk about any movie or saga in question, let us know in the comments. Without further ado, that's all from me. See you next time. Bye and a kiss to all.